You know what it is, man. It's your boy, Swaggy T, Tim Halpert, Ashley Larry, the man of many monikers himself, which is, in fact, a moniker in itself. It's the coldest dude out. Giannis Antetokounmpo, DeMar DeFrozen, Jared Goff. That's 3. Hat Trick Mahomes, Le'Veon Sell, Dank Lucas, Greg Popovich, Sad Stevens. We coaching shit in case you didn't notice it. Rinse LaSalle, the cleanest cat on the playground. Tom Shade, I'm in the pocket cooling. Whew, it's been so long. It's been so
Anymore? You good? You good?
Dennis Podman, it's all coming back to me. You feel me? Get it off the boards.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there.
For a little rest. I hate Sean, ladies and gentlemen.
I hate
sir.
Sean.
Yes, sir.
You are now tuning into The Vibe with Your Boys podcast. Starring Kyle the Kid and Mega the Boy. You dig?
Yes, sir.
Why they hate Sean, man? Before you continue, why they hate Sean? I was wondering that.
Okay, so when I first made a Twitter, my ad name was just that dude 5.
Okay.
Thank God I changed it. But one day, like somebody at my mom's job like found my Twitter because like before my name was just my name on there, like the display name. So that's why my display name is always something different. But yeah, they found my Twitter and then she was like, oh blah blah blah, this and that, like, you know, you shouldn't be saying this on there. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie, Mom. I sent it my Facebook, but at this point, my Twitter, if you find it, you find it. That's on you. But then I was like, I don't want her to find it like that again. So I changed the at name. I didn't want to be that easy to find. So I changed it and I made it I Hate Sean because at the time, Tyler, the creator's name was Fuck Tyler. And can I say the F word on here? Okay. But yeah, his at name was Fuck Tyler. And I liked the concept of the self-loathing at name, but I didn't want to be Fuck Sean. Like, that's a lot. So, you know, I Hate Sean. And it just stuck.
And it just stuck, and now it's a noticeable name, a name that carries recognition, put it like that. So it's stuck with you. Speaking of stuff that you know, how long did it take you to come up with all those names? Those just flow.
So you know, just over the years, you feel me? Like Swaggy T from, you know, I was Timmy Turnup first off. That was like my first name probably. I was Timmy Turnup. And I had like a whole turn up family. Like we were all like, you know, it was anybody with the name Turner, we was changing it, making it turn up. And then I grew up and became Tim Halpert. Ashley, I used to call myself Ashley Larry back in the day from Chappelle's show. And then, you know, I'm a writer, you know, bars, it comes easy. So names of Giannis Antetokounmpo, shit like that. It's just like, and then sometimes all you do on Plug Talk, it's like I would have the names or whatever. And then, you know, RIP to Sean, but him and Oz would try to like, get names too, so they would start, and I'd be like, all right, now I gotta like, you know, they trying to keep up. I gotta make sure niggas know who like really does this. So you know, I would just come up with new names like, you know, on the fly and things like that, and then they would stick. And then, you know, you got 6, and you add 1, you got 7. Next time you add 1, you got 8. You know, so it's just, but yeah, just natural.
Got you. So let's start in the beginning. From New York.
From New York originally.
When did you come down here?
I moved here when I was 7, like right before I turned 7. So 2001.
7, okay.
July 2001, I moved from New York to Florida.
And you was going back to New York, or you were just mostly down here?
I was really down here. I mean, I went to New York like maybe a couple times as a kid. I went again when I was 15, but I went to Jersey, honestly, so I didn't really go to New York. My first like trip back to New York for real, like as an adult, was for RJ's home opener. That was in 2019, that was recently. October 2019.
Oh wow, okay, got you. So from there, growing up down here, what was the experience like? Clearly, you was into sports and everything. So,
it was a great experience. You know, I grew up. I lived in Inver at first, from like 7 to 13. So I went to, you know, Challenger, Millennium. Then I got zoned out of Challenger and got sent to Village. And my mom, they wanted me to go to Village, so I went to Eagle Ridge. And then we moved to Coral Springs. I got the private school life. I got the public school life, but I feel like I've been in, you know, a lot of different places. I like grew up at Lakes Park, you know, Vincent Torres Memorial. Like, you know, just I'm a Lauderdale Lakes legend. I got like 7 championships out there.
LBA,
you know the vibes. LBA legend, man. I got mad championships out there. So, you know, I feel like that is a lot of who I am. I feel like I got like, you know, I was able to be on this side of Broward and this side of Broward. And, you know, I feel like now as an adult, seeing like my entire Broward experience and even in the support that I get in my New York things from Broward, you know, I feel like all that has come, and I feel like, you know, it's been really dope. I've always felt really supported. I've always felt like, you know, I wouldn't trade, you know, how it went.
Your journey, your experience. Gotcha. Because being that, you know, you're so immersed into like New York sports and everything like that, every now and then I feel like your followers see like, oh, I see where he's from, like the personality, you know, the charisma. So I feel like that plays a part of you. That being said, how hard was it for you to like stay immersed in, you know, New York, being from down here? Because, you know, the culture is heavy down here. We got different cultures and everything.
You know, I don't think it was really hard for me. I think I feel like it would have been easier for me. Like to this day, sometimes like I'll say something, I'll be like, oh, I'm in line at Publix, and somebody would be like, wait, you don't live in New York? I'm like, no. Like, how did you do this? And I was like, man, you know, I'm still doing the same thing I've been doing forever. Like, I'm just rooting for the Knicks and talking about it.
Yeah.
So like, it just, before my friends used to mute me for talking about the Knicks too much, and now people want me to talk about the Knicks. But like, it's the same thing. So, you know, I feel like the internet is like really beautiful, and it goes to show the power of the internet too. Like, just to be able to build a base and connections and everything in New York from Florida. It's like, you know, you can really do anything. Like, I've connected with people in different countries and all kinds, like, you know, and it's just like off the strength of the internet. And I have like but like, is this our first time? Like,
yeah.
Like, I feel like I've known you for years. So the internet is just a beautiful thing, you know. I feel like that really provides a lot of opportunity. I feel like everybody in this day and age, and especially with the way the world is shifting, like after COVID and everything happened and all that stuff, and everything became remote and all that stuff, find something on the internet to like cultivate and really grow, because the internet will give you a career.
Most definitely. Did you play, or did you have an interest in playing college hoops, or it just stopped after high school?
So I had an interest in playing college hoops, but my coach my senior year was a bitch. I'm working on forgiveness.
What school you went to?
I went to Cardinal Gibbons, but I left Cardinal Gibbons and went to Coral Glades.
Okay.
And that was probably the worst thing that ever happened to me in terms of being a basketball player. Because, like, I went from, like, my sophomore year at Cardinal Gibbons, I was about to be on, either I was going to be on JV, I was going to be, like, the third string point guard on varsity, but either way, I was there, you feel me? I'm in the gym. On the cusp. I was right there, you feel me? We had a dude named Sam Mills, one of the coolest dudes ever. And he was, like, super nice. And he was, like, great student. So, like, he had mad scouts. Like, you know, I remember one time, Georgia Tech, Auburn, and there was one more school. I forgot who the third school was. But they were all in, like, our, like, practice. We were just in the mini gym. And, like, the coaches, like, the Georgia Tech coach pulled me aside, and he was like, hey, we're going to be keeping an eye on you. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Like, that's wild. Because at the time, I'm like, you know, I'm like a 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" point guard. Like, hey, this kid's in 10th grade. He's a point guard. He's 6'something. Like, we'll watch out for him. And, you know, so that was, like, really inspiring. That was really cool. And those are the type of opportunities that I got just by going to practice at Cardinal Gibbons. And then probably, like, a couple weeks later, I got switched to Coral Glades. And then I never saw a scout again in my life. And so then I almost quit when I left, because when I was a point guard at Cardinal Gibbons, I was about to be the third string point guard at varsity or the starting point guard on JV. Then I got to Coral Glades. They put me on JV. Coral Glades is a far worse team. Cardinal Gibbons went to States that year. Coral Glades hasn't been to States ever. And no disrespect to, you know, Jag Pride. But, so I almost quit basketball. Like, because I got there and they put me on JV, and then the coach tried to make me a power forward because I was tall. And I was just like, bro, like, I am not a power forward. I was not having any fun. Then my homie Cameron, shout out to Cameron, he broke his arm.
Opened a little door for you.
Opened the door because he was playing the three. So the first couple of games I was miserable. We was winning, but I was just like, bro, like, I'm catching the ball at the high post and throwing it down. So I got to switch out and play the three, and I started doing better, having, like, you know, more fun that way. My junior year, I got to varsity, and my Coach Q, one of the best people ever, he was the varsity coach, and I wasn't playing. Like, I started off the 6-man, then I wasn't playing at all. Like, and then they had a team meeting, like, and it was like after the first couple of games. The second game of the season was back at Cardinal Gibbons, and he pulled me mad early. He was like, "You're not ready for this. It's too much emotion." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Bro, we're 30 seconds into the game." So then I wasn't in rotation after that. They had a team meeting with there was 14 people on the team. They pulled 10 people in the meeting, and I was like in the locker room, like looking at the meeting, and I was like, "This is nuts." So I went into his office. I was like, "Hey, coach, like, I'm not saying you got to play me, but, like, as a member of the team, I would like to be included in team meetings." And he was like, "You know what? You're right. I apologize, blah, blah, blah. I got my chance during the Cruel Classic because he was pissed off at how he was playing. So I got to get in the game and at point guard, and I was playing the 3 before that. So he's like, go ahead, you got it. And I was like, whoa. And then I started hooping. And I started, like, we won the next game in the Cruel. So then from there, we started off the season, I think we were 2-8. And after I started starting at point guard, we were 6-4. So, you know, that was cool. I was feeling good. But then Coach Q, selfish ass, wanted to pursue a career in administration and move up and better himself for his children and everything. So then I got the same dude who tried to make me a power forward when that almost made me quit basketball. He became my coach my senior year. He didn't give me access to none of my tape, none of that. He, like, my last game, I came down. We were up.
He knew you hated him.
See, the thing is, no.
Oh, so he was just horrible.
I was like, and that's part of like what, and I'm still working on the forgiveness part of it because he didn't know I hated him because my parents raised me to be a very good kid and a very respectful kid. So like, no matter how much of a bitch he was, no matter how much like whole shit he did, I still like, this is my coach. This is an adult. I have respect for you. I'm gonna do what you say. Blah blah blah. So like, there was one game my senior year, the last game of the season, and we were up by 20 on Coconut Creek, and we were beating the shit out of him first quarter. He pulls the starters to start the second quarter, and I'm just like, why would you do that? It's only the second quarter. They give up the whole 20-point lead. Then he puts us back in. It's like a 1-point game. I come down, first play, crossover, pull up at the free throw line, cash. He calls a timeout to yell at me for taking the shot that I made. That's just a microcosm of like the things that I dealt with that year. Like he really did not like me. He didn't want me to be a point guard. He couldn't stand it. And like he really like, man, he made me because I went to FGCU. Okay. I went to FGCU, and my first year there was the year of the Dunk City, Sweet 16, all that. Oh, okay. So when I got there, they weren't shit. They had open tryouts. You could just come. Like it wasn't they didn't have recruits, nothing like that. Like it wasn't a big school. I would go. People would be like, "Hey, where's that school? Where you go? FGCU? Where at? In Fort Myers, over here." But nobody knew it. So, you know, I used to go up there with their runs. Sometimes they would like I knew a couple of players, so like they had me like when they practice or do open runs or whatever, they'd let me come, and I was better than like a solid 1 to 3 people on that team. And I feel like had I gone to trials, I would have made it. But like that day, like of the day of the trials, I went to the shuttle and I just turned around and my confidence was very, very, very shaken by everything I dealt with the year before. Wow. Gotcha. Yeah. So like, you know, ultimately it's like, I was very upset about that. And so I like had I had it out for this coach. Like it was just like, yo, when I see him, like, you feel me? Like, and then I went dead ass. And then one day in church, the message was about forgiveness. And this is like 2016. And I'm like, damn, I got to forgive this nigga. So then I was like, all right, you know what? I forgave him. And then I started coaching high school basketball.
Where at?
Coral Glades, same school. Okay. My brother was playing, so I started coaching. I was an assistant coach on varsity and a head coach on JV. And this was 2018, 2019. And once I started coaching, I was just like, oh, nah. And I unforgave him. Because I was like, yo, as an experience, being in the coach's position, like, you was beefing with a 17-year-old. Yeah. To the point where you impacted his future. You feel me? Like, and I just look at that, you know, like there was this one kid, Nick Bontemps. He's out there playing college somewhere, I think, right now. Before, That's my guy. Love Nick. And, you know, he really wanted to dunk. And I would tell him all the time, like, you know, like, it's about your steps, but the main thing is palm the ball. If you can palm the ball and get the ball over the rim, all you got to do is put the ball in. Yeah. So he got a fast break in the game one time, and he dunked it. And he came to me after the game, and he was like, Coach Sean, I did what you said. And I was like, yo, he got his first dunk and attributed it to me. That is an amazing feeling. Like the impact that there's kids, I'm still in touch with some of the kids I coached for, and I only coached for like half the season, like, or the majority of the season. But, you know, I'm still in touch with some of those kids to this day. And like, I still have a great respect for them. They have a great respect for me. And it's like, you're in position to have an impact in the kid's life and to be able to help them, whether it's on the court, off the court, whatever it may be. And you as a 40-year-old man chose to not only not help me, like but spite me, and like, you know, your career, future career. Yeah, that is insane to me. So like, I'm still working. They talked about forgiveness in church again the other day, 6 years later. So I'm working on it.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, man.
So that went out the window. So we may be skipping some time period here, but when did the idea of media come into the play?
Media didn't really come into play. So the main thing, shout out to Oz, you feel me? From Plug Talk. Shout out. Oz was the first person to say that I needed to be in media. Like, Oz really wanted to do a podcast. We used to work together at the sneaker store. So we would just be in our shifts, we'd be having conversations, and he was like, yo, I want to start a podcast with you. And I was like, I mean, hey, bro, if all I got to do is show up and talk, like, I'm with it. And this is 2016. Like, there weren't really, people didn't really have podcasts like that and shit like that. So that was my first time, like, really having a platform. And that was really cool. And then it became, from there, I started hosting. I started hosting that event I was doing in West Palm, Grit the Mic. That was cool. That like got me into that. I performed a speakeasy, so that got me even better with public speaking.
You was never like afraid of public speaking, or
I was never afraid of public speaking. However, my first performance, it was a speakeasy. Shout out to Brandon, Javon, and Sheldon. And Brandon, Javon just dropped music. I'm pretty sure. Like, go get that. But my first performance at speakeasy, it was my first time performing. I wrote something like, I wrote it like right before that. Like, I wrote it because I had a bunch of things I'd written. I was like, what am I going to perform? And I was like, nah. I want to perform something so authentic that they can tell that I wrote this about this for this. So I did. I wrote it really well, but I got up there and like once I started, my leg was shaking. Like I was sweating. I was like, yo, this is different. And, so to feel that first feeling of like, being on stage and being like a little thrown off and now to be, able to host events and stand up there all night and blah, blah, blah. That's a beautiful thing just to see like the progression in that. But I never really was a like stage fright person. I've always been very outgoing. Maybe it's that, the rock player with her girls would say it's the Leo in me.
Gotcha.
That just, likes to be the center of attention, whatever it may be. And then as far as sports media, I was already following the Knicks wall. Like I was following them. I was listening to the podcast. I was buying the merch. Like I was rocking with them. And, I followed my homie Kyle Maggio, who's like runs the brand. And we were following each other for about a week. And I was like, he's pretty cool. He just like me. I was like, I'll just DM him. So I DM'd him. I was like, hey, I really like what you guys do. I like what you guys have going on. If there's ever a chance to get involved, like I would really love to be a part of it. And he was like, yo, you seem like you're active on socials. You know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Let me talk to the team. And then he talked to him. He came back. He was like, you're in. And then from there, they were just like, yo, like green light. Like do what you want. Like, so then I started, like, I was just on there tweeting games. And it was like, oh, like we need somebody to do a show. Like, so I started doing a show on Periscope. And then, like, I took the Periscope and tried to turn it into YouTube. And, but that was only... And the crazy thing about it, and why I try to be as loud as possible about things like this, is because 3 years ago I was not doing this at all. Like I sent that DM in August of 2019. So it's just like, and now like I haven't gotten where I want to be or what but it's just like
you've taken your leap.
A lot has happened since then. You feel me? And it's like people may see like where it's at, but like I want people to really realize like I feel like some people try to. I feel like there's two ways to look at things, right? I feel like sometimes people be like, yo, this is where I am. And I worked really hard to get here. And I don't want you to not realize that it took a lot of hard work. And that's true. That's true and that's important. But at the same time, it's like, look at where I am. And 3 years ago, I was not doing this. So, like, whatever you want to do, go do that shit today.
Just take the step.
Like, take that step. And that, because a lot of times, and I still struggle with it, where it's like, steps 0 through 10, I'm trying to figure out all the way to step 10. And so I don't take step 1. And I feel like you got to take step 1 so that you can get to step 2 and then plan out step 3. You feel me? And then step 10 gets a little clearer, you get closer to it. But I feel like a lot of times people talk themselves out of things. I know it happens because I know I do it to myself. So people talk themselves out of things, bro. Shoot your shot, take that chance. Whatever it is you want to do, go do it. It's doable.
Gotcha. Yeah, sometimes you think about the end goal so much that you don't even realize. Just enjoy the process. Yeah, enjoy the process. Yeah.
Start somewhere.
Most definitely. Now, right before we get into the fun stuff,